to the big story of the day. Monsoon session of Parliament began, and on quite a torrid note, with opposition parties gunning for the central government. The Prime Minister, as is practice, began to introduce the new members of the cabinet. The central government went through a cabinet re-expansion, quite recently, but was not allowed to speak and was shouted down amongst the din from the opposition. So several issues on the block. Fuel prices, as well as farmer laws are still doing the rounds. That is one of the issues being taken up. Remember, this is the first monsoon session after the second wave of COVID-19. It's an important one. A lot of key bills, about 20-25 key bills also will be discussed this session. But one of the issues that dominated today was also the Pegasus Spygate leak. Now, a consortium of publications around the world have been working on a story that was released today in India on an online portal, which talked about how Israeli company NSO's Pegasus software is being used to spy on Indian citizens. About 300 Indian phones are believed to have been snooped upon. This includes at least 40 journalists, rights activists, opposition members, among them high-ranking officials in the government as well make it to the list. So that is the story that was put out. The Indian IT minister has denied those reports in Parliament today. Listen in.
The press reports have appeared a day before the monsoon session of the Parliament. This cannot be a coincidence, Honourable Speaker, sir. In the past, similar claims were made regarding the use of Pegasus on WhatsApp. Those reports had no factual basis and were categorically denied by all parties, including in the Supreme Court. The press reports of 18 July 2021 also appear to be an attempt to malign the Indian democracy and its well-established institutions. We cannot fault those who haven't read the news story in detail, and I request all honourable members of the House to examine the issues on facts and logic. The basis of this report is that there is a consortium which has got access to a leaked database of 50,000 phone numbers.
Because obviously what it seems to imply is that a spyware which is meant to be used to track terrorism and criminals and so on has been deployed against private citizens of India going about their lawful business, which in a democracy is very troubling. We have, under the Supreme Court's Puttaswamy judgment, we have a fundamental right to privacy. On top of that, we all have a right in a democracy to our own political points of view. The taxpayers like us do not need to feel that our money is being spent by the government for the political advantages of the ruling party. So if any of these charges are true, it's a very, very serious matter.
All right, so now whether the charges are true or not is not known unless there is a probe on this. The Indian government, meanwhile, says that there is no proof that any surveillance or snooping was done on these people. All of this is part of the report being put out by this consortium of publications, which have said that they've forensically audited some phones that show that they have been attacked by Pegasus. Now, who is doing the attacking? Who are these clients? What is the purpose? We really don't know all of these things right now. What we do know is that the technology exists out there which makes all defenses very, very vulnerable. This is not the first time Pegasus has been in the news. Some of you will remember in 2019, WhatsApp, in fact, warned several of its users, some of them in India, that their WhatsApp accounts were being attacked by this Pegasus spyware. After that, WhatsApp actually took the makers of Pegasus, NSO, to court, and that legal battle is still unwinding. The basic question then is, what do we do and how scary is this surveillance stuff? Because with Pegasus, reportedly, you don't even come to know that your phone is being targeted. Raman Chima on the show with us this evening, Aseem Jakhar on the show with us this evening. We'll hopefully speak with Pavan Duggal in just a bit. He's getting connected, I'm told. Let's go across to Aseem first. Aseem Jakhar, the idea that someone, anyone, can at will look at what is going on in your phone. Your camera, your microphone can be used to spy on you and you don't even know it. At the very least, do we now know for a fact that this technology does exist and can be used?
Absolutely. I think we have discussed this in a lot of previous sessions as well. This is just part of how software is developed and how software systems have vulnerabilities. And this is a fact and it is here to stay. The only difference is whether somebody is going to snoop in on your phone. Now that depends on, that basically boils down to economics. If you are a person of interest for a group that has deep pockets and has access to these tools, then you need to worry. Otherwise, as a normal citizen, I don't think somebody has the time and motivation and money to spend and hack your phone.
No, absolutely. You need to perhaps be a VIP, but you don't know how far these surveillance systems go, right? I mean, perhaps a lot of people who are finding themselves on the list today reportedly didn't realize that they were targets at all. So that is quite subjective. Pavan Duggal, what concerns you most about this story today?
What concerns me most is the flagrant violation of the existing law and the inability of the relevant stakeholders to open their eyes and try to take corrective, positive action. The people of the country are concerned that, look, here is a software that's gone ahead and violated the target people's fundamental right to privacy. Now, if you believe what NSO is telling you, it says it only sells to government or governmental agencies. The government here has nowhere admitted that it is either purchased or not purchased, the said software. On the other hand, it's only saying that no wrongdoing has been done. Well, if the government has not done any wrongdoing, then it's all the more reason, the bounden duty of the government to at least investigate. Because when you are engaging in spyware-related activities, they tantamount to various offenses under the Information Technology Act 2000, specifically under Section 66, read with 43, 66B, 66C, and D. I can even go ahead and say that this particular classical case could also be brought under the ambit of the offense of cyber terror, since the focus of this particular exercise was also to create terror in the minds and the hearts of the targeted persons. So here, when I look at Section 69 of the IT Act, it only allows you lawful interception as per required by law. Since spyware itself is an illegal process and the commission of various activities done by spyware tantamount to cyber crimes, the government cannot at no point of time resort to interception using spyware. And if it does so, it is in gross violation of not just the IT Act, but also the IPC, and also in flagrant violation of people's fundamental right to privacy under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. So rather than these allegations, counter allegations, if the police has the power to register an FIR on a suo motu, on just source information, then there's nothing stopping the authorities for at least investigating what is the real truth behind it. If the government of India has not done it, wonderful. Then it's even more a bigger issue to find out who has done it. Is it foreign state or non-state actors who are targeting these people? Ultimately, if this thing is not going to be investigated properly...
The question doesn't arise right now. No. Yeah. No, but investigation, the question doesn't arise right now because it's all in the shadows. Raman Chima, there is a lot of talk today about how this kind of surveillance, if it has taken place and if mounted by the government, which people are coming to the conclusion because the company that makes and sells the software says we only sell to sovereign governments, so who else then would be interested in Indian nationals? So all of that is now in the realm of 2 + 2 is 4. So when all of this is happening in such a shadowy manner, there could be corporate espionage involved tomorrow. There could be, espionage between countries. We don't know the extent of the snooping. So where is the question of getting justice in the context of what the law allows and protects you?
Exactly right. The failure of the government to act and to allow a truly independent investigation on this matter, or to even own up publicly to what it's done and who is accountable, deprives people of justice, Tamanna. Right now, what's happening is people have been directly hacked, their personal lives, intimate details, business dealings, professional relationships, political conversations, accessed illegally by a foreign company operating most likely on the behalf of some governmental actor in India. You needed to see urgent action from the Indian government, which has not happened instead. And what they're doing in this case, in fact, by repeatedly not answering the question, by merely hiding behind a nearly now photocopied response of saying, oh, we do not take any responsibility, we cannot confirm these reports, and if we did something that's legal, what it actually does, exactly as Pavan has pointed out, and even you're pointing out, is create a much larger problem. Because what it is doing is in effect is saying there's a situation where if you conduct illegal surveillance, illegal hacking in India, don't worry, there's impunity, nothing will happen, you can keep going ahead and do whatever you want. And in fact, because the state is breaking the law, what justification will the state truly have to combat illegal cybercrime and other hacking conducted by other actors? It is actually making us more insecure. And in fact, I would build a little bit and perhaps differ partly with what Aseem said, that in fact, I think individual people also have a lot to worry, because the proliferation of spyware and vulnerabilities and the failure to hold these people to account in India, it's actually creating an ecosystem where companies will try and find other people they can sell these services to, decrease the cost of them, and allow it to be used against all sorts of actors here. Because in a sense, the police and this union government will look the other way because their hands might be dirty as well.
The question is this just limited to, like the point that Aseem made earlier, and Raman, let me come back to you. What is happening right now is that a lot of people seeing the story are probably thinking, and rightly so, what Aseem said, that if you are a VVIP or you are in a very specific kind of position, a person of interest, perhaps then you should be worried about this Pegasus spy hack story. I mean, if you're a common person, who wants to know what's in your phone? But there is a larger danger, isn't there, to the existence of software and methods to snoop on what's in people's phone. We know through social media that already all of our lives are just a database.
Exactly. And the idea is to be able to intrude and hack on people's devices so they can keep huge amounts of data that they can access and query at any point of time. It's literally the equivalent of what the Stasi used to do in East Germany, a file maintained on every person, not just to specifically investigate a particular matter, but something that they would check on later, but also to send a signal, a message to people, right? We know everything that you're doing. Don't you dare even think about doing something that perhaps those in power will not like. That's very dangerous. And more importantly, allowing criminal entities like this, in effect, to build out massive exploits and capabilities that they repeatedly try to sell with the purpose of hacking devices actually encourages an entire black market ecosystem, or sometimes even a gray market ecosystem, that is basically saying we want to do hack for hire on a massive basis, hacking for hire with the purpose of putting people to harm, not hacking to protect and improve our systems. And in fact, what it's also doing is that the people in government who should be going around ensuring that our devices are secure, that people cannot be able to intrude upon the everyday device that we all use now, they're instead trying to ensure that they can hack those devices. That's extremely alarming. And it's, as I said, not just those who might be elite, journalists, activists. Every part of our democratic system has been targeted. And this is extremely alarming. And that's why beyond just the hacking and information security concerns, we need an open investigation that is conducted not just by the executive branch, by truly independent actors. We need changes in our surveillance law. And lastly, we need an approach to cybersecurity that is about making India more secure, not about hacking Indians in order to make it easier for police or political actors to be able to know what they're saying or doing.
Aseem, your take about what this kind of a story and this kind of a scare does. At the end of the day, people are going to be wondering whether any of their information is safe. And what are the concerns thereon, even for people who may not be VVIPs or on any list?
Yeah, I mean, I think we should look at it from the perspective of the manufacturer as well. Nobody is questioning Apple. Nobody is questioning Google in terms of what is the security process that you're following. If you are in business for the last 10, 15 years, what have you been doing about the security, and why shouldn't the manufacturer be liable altogether? Because ultimately it is their product that people are using. So why should people just question the government? Why not the manufacturers also, right? Because it's their product at the end, and the security for the product is their responsibility. So I think the government is answerable, but then the government also needs to put in some kind of a regulation or some kind of policies which will force manufacturers as well, and hold them liable for these kind of issues. Right now, we've been seeing Pegasus hacks, we've been seeing a lot of malware hacks. The Apple is doing business as it is, right, for so many years. Nobody asks them questions. Everybody is asking, like shooting the messenger. You're asking questions to NSO, to the government. Why are you shooting the messenger, right? Shoot the source, right? So I think you just not should look at the government only or the company that is supplying. I mean, when there is a terrorist attack, do we ask questions? Who provided them the weapons? Which company manufactured those weapons? No, right? Because we know that terrorists have weapons, so that has become a common thing. So I think everybody should be equally liable. The company who's creating, there should be regulations. I think there are already regulations. The government should also be held liable and answerable, as well as the product manufacturers.
There are regulations. No. So this Israeli company says that they sell only to sovereign nations and vetted customers.
Yeah.
But they are refusing to, of course, reveal who those customers are. It's all a very hush-hush elite kind of thing. At the end of the day, simple point, Pavan Duggal, how do we keep our phones safe? Or should we just let go of this, pretense that we have some privacy, some kind of, protection for our data? One believes on certain messaging sites that they're encrypted. There could be a lot of private conversations taking place which may or may not be of interest to anyone, but an individual still doesn't want the feeling that they could be viewed by a third party.
Unfortunately, the time has come for us to change our mindset. If you're thinking of security, that's non-existent because absolute security does not exist. So our perception that we are secure must instantaneously be discarded. Also, the expectation that we have privacy is also somewhere in the clouds because most of the time we ourselves become the weakest link in the cybersecurity chain by disclosing things. Already India is seeing the great Indian vomiting revolution, where Indians are vomiting all kinds of personal, professional, social information about their day-to-day lives onto the internet. And now, as I've recently pointed in my new book, New Cyber World Order Post-COVID-19, it's a new cyber world order that's waiting us. States are going to get very, very powerful. We will have increasing intrusion into our digital liberties. So I think the best thing is, let's try to pick up the strings from where we have started. It's an old saying, the moment you get started, think it as the morning of that particular day. So I think let's begin by looking at our devices. Let's completely discard all the apps that we have on our devices and then only put those apps whom we have actually pretty much satisfied after reading the terms and conditions of the privacy policy thereof, and whose customer reviews give you a substantial clarity that this is a good to have app. Also, we will have to start inculcating cybersecurity as a way of life. Okay. Do not depend upon state to protect your cyber privacy or cybersecurity. You yourself have to do it with your own hands.
Absolutely. Well, thank you to all of you. And about the great vomiting revolution, as Pavan Duggal talks about it, yes, we as a people love to share our information, but it has to be voluntary. It's not the same thing as someone looking into your phone when you don't want it, whether you're an Aam Aadmi or a VVIP. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us on the first discussion this evening. We'll take a very short break, but do stay tuned for what's coming up next. If you're in one of the many cities of India right now which are inundated by floods, you're seeing pictures of a huge crack in the road and a car stuck in it, or walls falling, people dying because of all of these floods. This may be about climate change. It's time to start asking the big question. We do that when we return after this very short break.